I gotta say, the Xbox section's looking actually pretty full and healthy in my game wall. Looking quite packed in there. Hello everybody, Scorpio Caesar here, part of the Super Retro Force, and in today's video, we're continuing with the Xbox 360 pickups. Now, I know you're probably sick and tired of hearing about the Xbox 360 by now. I 100% get it, but you gotta understand something. A lot of people are collecting for the Xbox 360 now, and there's a lot of FOMO going on YouTube right now. Everybody's talking about the same amount of games. They're grabbing games from their shelves, any game in their collection, and talking about them. And half of them are blatant resellers that are just trying to artificially inflate the market. But that being said, I'm still collecting for the Xbox 360 on top of other consoles. Me personally, right now, I'm focused on this console. Like I said, I'm a madman possessed, and I'm not gonna stop. I got 12 more Xbox 360 games here that I picked up recently, and we're gonna talk about them. So once again, welcome to the CesArcade.
Get ready.
If you're new here, what I do here on this channel, I talk about video games. Don't we all? I like to talk a little bit about collecting. I like to talk about certain games in my channel. I like to talk about video game related figures. And I got a lot to offer on this channel. Sure, it's nothing original. A lot of us on YouTube, hell, half the population on YouTube are talking about video games. So it's nothing new or nothing special. But if you've taken the time to subscribe, to tune in today, I really do appreciate you. And thank you for taking the time to watch the CesArcade. For now, we're going to talk about these 12 Xbox 360 games, how much I paid for them, and if they're worth picking up or not. Anyways, let's get to it. One that doesn't really need an introduction, Alan Wake. Now, a lot of people have talked many great things about this game. Me personally, I wasn't really on board when it first came out. Despite that, I did end up having 2 of the DLC packs already downloaded for this game for some reason. I think what happened was that there was a deal going on digitally, and I bought it there. But since I'm not really big on digital games anymore, I like to own things physically. And I have Alan Wake now on the Xbox 360. Now, Alan Wake did get remastered on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. But one thing you want to take into account here is that that version, for some odd reason, is a lot more expensive. Sure, they changed some things, a little bit of the character models. I believe they removed some licensing, music, and some blatant advertising like the Energizer battery. Me personally, that never bothered me, so I decided to go with the original edition because it's significantly cheaper. I got this one for like around 15 bucks. And it's also backwards compatible on the Xbox One X and Xbox Series X consoles. Shit. It's a psychological action thriller. It says so there. And from what I played so far, it's actually pretty good. A lot of tense moments, not so much scary. If you find this game scary, then oof, you need to play Fatal Frame. Next up, we have Mercenaries 2: A World in Flames. And this is one that I originally owned on the PlayStation 3. Now, I loved the original Mercenaries game on the original Xbox. Also came out on PS2. If you haven't played that one, it's made by Pandemic Studios. I loved Pandemic Studios, but unfortunately, it's a dead developer at this point, and they made the sequel. Speaking of dead developers, you might want to check out the Super Retro Force's recent video on our favorite games from dead developers, and no doubt Pandemic Studios does pop up in that video. Sorry, had to shout out my boys at the Super Retro Force. Anyways, Mercenaries 2: World in Flames. It was a competent sequel, but it had a lot of technical issues when it came out. The frame rate wasn't the best. It's kind of an ugly game nowadays when you look back on it. It's a lot of like sun-setting oranges and browns. It was the time. Unfortunately, that's just how a lot of games were back then. Me personally, it's still got the same great Mercenaries gameplay, a lot of destruction, a lot of hijacking, a lot of vehicles you can use, and the RPG is always my favorite. Me personally, however, I still prefer the first one, but Mercenaries 2 is still a great game. I got this one in a claim sale from the Game Supplier 1994 for only $8, and honestly, complete in its box, I can't go wrong with that. Next up, we have an action-adventure style game. This one's published by Namco Bandai, and I remember this game coming out. Nobody cared about it when it came out, and now suddenly it's shooting up in price because, of course, somebody blew the whistle and said that it was going to be a rare game. Don't believe them. It's multi-platform. It's on the PS3. It's on the 360. Majin and the Forsaken Kingdom. Now this game, I see it go for around $45, $35 complete. I managed to find one for only $25. Honestly, I saw it, I snagged it, and I'm glad I did because this is one of those games that it's very charming. It reminds me a little bit of Prince of Persia, but you got this big Majin guy, and he's kind of dopey, pretty charming if you ask me. He helps you out, move through the environments and the puzzles and everything, and it's really cool. I like it so far. The voice acting is pretty solid, and I definitely think if you're a fan of the Prince of Persia style of games, you should probably check out Majin and the Forsaken Kingdom, because personally to me, I see this game has a lot of charm, and I definitely want to get into it a little bit deeper.
My friends are already scattered around the kingdom gathering information.
Hey, it's Toucan Sam! My wife's gonna kill me for that one. Next up, this is a game I got for only $10 complete from my boy Keisha Boy Games. In the claim cell, when I saw him posting some Xbox 360 titles, I said, boy, son, I need that game. That game is Dante's Inferno. Now, Dante's Inferno is a special case of a game. This was made by Visceral Games and EA. It was doing its best to basically give people an alternative to God of War. Me personally, I didn't really play the God of War games, wasn't too big on them, but I do like the gameplay in Dante's Inferno. A lot of gore, a lot of action, a lot of violence. And yeah, the game does have some nudity in it as well, so be forewarned. It's based off the biblical proportions. God damn it, it says go to hell at the back. That should be more than enough you need to know. So yeah, Dante's Inferno, action, adventure, beat 'em ups, hack and slash style gameplay. Action is visceral. That was bad. They developed the game, but yeah, you know what I mean. A lot of violence going on here, and it's a pretty awesome game, all things considered. It's available also on the PS3. Like I said, it's not going to be very expensive. You can get this one easily for under $15, whether it be on the PS3 or the Xbox 360 version. Now, I believe the PS3 version was also had a Divine Edition, which had some extra stuff, but it's not really that important. Definitely pick up Dante's Inferno if you haven't and you're a fan of the God of War style games, because this one is also backwards compatible on Xbox One and Xbox Series systems. Just let you know. Listen, if you like snowboarding games, this one got good reviews when it came out. It is called Stoked. Now, this got two versions. Stoked and Stoked Big Air Edition. Now the Big Air Edition adds some extra courses and some extra content to the vanilla game. Definitely go with this one if you get the chance. Now this one is dirt cheap, I swear. I paid under $10 for this one. I think it was like 8 something. And I saw it at the video game store in Wilkes-Barre, PA for only $4 in the bargain bin. I wish I bought it there first before I ordered it off eBay. That being said, if you're a fan of snowboarding games, not the over-the-top ones like SSX, which are still my favorite to this day, this one is pretty decent. Now, from what I played, I only really got far into the tutorials, and I suck big time. Big time. I only wish the guy in the tutorials was more enthusiastic. The dude just sounds bored. Like, seriously, listen to this guy.
Hi, it's Walla. Let's learn how to jump. Check this. You're sloppy, I'm stylish. Awesome job. You're way better than me. No.
So yeah, Stoked, the Big Air Edition. I believe this one is also an Xbox 360 exclusive. Next up, we gotta talk about one of my favorite racing games on the Xbox 360 that did get a sequel on the PlayStation 3 as a launch title, and that game is Full Auto. This was one of those rare instances where a demo actually sold me on the game. Now, this game brought rewind functions into racing games way before Forza ever did. And I gotta say, this one has a special place in my heart. It's just a bona fide Xbox 360 classic that unfortunately got pretty mid reviews. Me personally though, I love this game. Anybody who's played Full Auto, you know what I'm talking about. This game is so action-packed. Lots of bullets going around, the race course, a lot of destruction. The environmental destruction was insane. Like I said, this was one of those games when I played the demo, I was like, this is next gen, you know what I mean? Full Auto on the Xbox 360, definitely worth checking out if you haven't already. I can see the prices going up. They've been going up recently, but honestly, don't pay more than $10 for this one. Maybe 15 is about the limit. It's still a fun game, but if you have a PlayStation 3, get its sequel, Full Auto 2 Battle Lines. This one has pretty much all the content from Full Auto, some more cars and more courses, and it also has a full-fledged battle mode. Something that the original Full Auto was unfortunately missing. This one I already had the case and manual for, I just needed the disc and I paid around $8 for the disc. Next up we have another Pandemic Studio game, and this one is the Saboteur. Now this one came out on the PlayStation 3 as well, so it's not exclusive. This was one of, I think, Pandemic's last game actually, and that's quite unfortunate like I said before. Still, it's a great game, open world, you're dealing with Nazis, it's got some racing elements in it as well, so I love that style and that era. The cool thing about this game is that it's open world, right? It's like black and white. And as you liberate certain areas in your town, you start to add color back into it. And it's such a cool feature that I definitely suggest you check out. Now this one I got from my boy Keisha Boy Games. However, I was gonna pay 20 bucks for it, which is around the price range that it typically goes for. It's available on PlayStation 3 as well, but I decided to do a trade and I ended up getting it for, well, I just traded him Resident Evil Revelations on the Switch and I pretty much got it for free. So no doubt, one game you should definitely check out if you're a fan of open world games and like third-person shooting with some racing elements thrown in there for good measure. The Saboteur. Next up we have a very bloody game called Splatterhouse. This was one of those heavy hitters that unfortunately I had to pay more than I probably was comfortable with. This one has always kind of fetched a high price because I believe it's been delisted. I could be wrong on that, but a lot of the DLC for this one in particular is nowhere near available anymore. That's unfortunate. It's got licensed music in there as well, so that could be the reason why it was delisted. And it doesn't run the greatest, but it's still a pretty cool modern take on the classic Splatterhouse formula. Now the reason why I suddenly got interested in this game was because I didn't realize that it actually had the original 3 Splatterhouse games in this as well as unlockables. So I've never played those, unfortunately, so now I can finally get my chance to play those classics with Splatterhouse on the Xbox 360. Now it's also available on the PS3. If you like a lot of blood and gore, definitely check out Splatterhouse on the Xbox 360 or PS3. Next up, we've got a third-person shooter here, and this one was actually brand new when I bought it. I bought it for like $18.50. Seller accepted my best offer. Brand new, like I said, factory sealed. You can see me unboxing it here right now in real time. It's crazy. Inversion on the Xbox 360. Now, this is a game that likes to deal with gravity. I'm just gonna come out and say it. Look at the gameplay here, alright? Does this look like any popular Xbox 360 third-person shooter? It's pretty obviously ripping off Gears of War and trying its hardest to be as good as those games. However, the movement and the shooting doesn't feel anywhere near as satisfying as Gears of War. However, it's still a serviceable third-person shooter. However, the game's main gimmick here is dealing with gravity. And the way it manipulates that in the environments is actually kind of cool. You can get people from out of cover by manipulating the gravity. However, from the early portions of this game, you're not going to really deal with that too much. It was developed by Saber Interactive, which is pretty interesting if you think about it. But yeah, like I said before, it's pretty serviceable. It's not going to set the world on fire, and it definitely didn't back when it came out. But I mean, like, listen to this guy.
No, Kara. Caroline, open your eyes. Open your eyes, baby. Come on, Kara, please.
Like, bro, if I saw my wife in that situation, I think I would have been freaking out a little bit more, you know what I mean? But anyways, Inversion on the Xbox 360, also available on the PS3. You can get this for around $20, still factory sealed. Next up, we got another heavy hitter, and this one I was able to talk the seller down to around $40, $45, I believe, not including shipping. Like I said, this one is more pricey. Asura's Wrath. It also released on the PlayStation 3. However, the Xbox 360 version is backwards compatible on modern day Xboxes, which is why I picked that version over the PS3 version. However, if you're a fan of over-the-top action and anime, then this game is for you. It's got a lot of quick time events. The intro is absolutely bonkers. I mean, absolutely batshit insane. You're falling from space, you're destroying all these weird squid monsters. It's hard to explain, just look at the gameplay here. It's solid. If you're a fan of this kind of action, then Asura's Wrath is your game and definitely is worth checking out. Now, this game is developed by CyberConnect 2, who also made the fantastic Naruto Ultimate Ninja and Ultimate Ninja Storm games. I loved those games, so I definitely wanted to pick this one up. Never did in the past, and I regret it now because, like I said, it fetches around $50. One thing I need to make mention of this game as well is that there is DLC for it. And that DLC is vital to the story. I think even the ending is tied to the DLC. There was some controversy when the game originally came out because of it, and it's probably around 15 to 20 bucks worth of DLC. I'm hoping as the store closes down that we see a Capcom sale and they lower the price for it, hopefully. But I just wanted to mention it for those of you who are looking to pick up Asura's Wrath, alright? Next up, we have a game that came out early on in the Xbox 360's life cycle and is, of course, backwards compatible with current day Xboxes, and that game is Earth Defense Force 2017. Fans of crazy games and Xbox 360 know a lot about this game already. The Earth Defense Force series has been going on for quite some time. You got guns, you got rocket launchers, you're shooting giant ants and spaceships. It doesn't get more hokey and crazy than this. It's a game that I missed out back when it originally came out, and I do regret it because I missed out on some comedy gold. This game is definitely worth your time. It's around $15 to $20 still to this day, but it's also backwards compatible as well. Like I said before, definitely check this out. Earth Defense Force got 2 other games on the Xbox 360, and I heard those weren't as good as this one, so I decided to get this one, and hey, I don't regret it one bit. From what I've played so far, like I said, it's campy, it doesn't take itself too seriously, it's pretty simple in terms of the whole menu design. If you want just pick up and play action, Earth Defense Force 2017, still a great time and definitely worth experiencing. Like I said, I mean, it's giant ants. You ever had an ant infestation in your house? If you're wanting to blow them up with a rocket launcher, then this is the game for you. And last but not least, in today's video, we have another one that's going up in price. Don't ask me why. It's one of those games that somebody mentioned before with a high sub count, and oh boy, prices shot up the roof. This game was like $20 before, $20, $30. Now, there's an asterisk with this one. It's Divinity 2. However, this game got 2 versions, okay? Divinity 2 Eco Draconis, and there's Divinity 2 Dragon Knight Saga. This is the one that I got. I paid $45 for this one, CIB. I've seen this go for ridiculous amounts. I saw a bid war that ended around $135. Why? I don't know. But this is the more rarer version of the 2. Now, the reason why this one is more sought after is because it has the expansion pack already on the disc. And this one in particular is backwards compatible with modern day Xboxes. From what I've played so far, I got sucked into it. Sure, it's janky, like Skyrim, almost, not nowhere near as grand in scale, but hell, I mean, you get to transform into a dragon later on in this game. Sign me up! I love playing as a dragon, and from what I've played so far, I'm having a great time with it. Published by Atlas, and I'm kind of wondering if that's what's causing the price for this one in particular to shoot up. But that being said, from what I've played so far, I absolutely adore what I've played. Combat, nothing special. The open world, not really that vast. The enemies could use a lot more variety, but from what I played, it's a charming game. And the song, Broken Valley, please look it up. It's probably playing in the background right now as we speak. I am in love with this song. I play it when I want to go to sleep. This game has put me to sleep, and I'm not saying that as a knock on it. I'm just saying that music is pretty relaxing. The soundtrack in general is just really good. If you're a fan of Western style RPGs, then definitely check out Divinity 2. You might be fine just sticking with Eco Draconis. Like I said, that one's a bit more affordable, but if you want all the content and the expansion on a disc, you gotta get the Dragon Knight Saga. Like I said before, always check on eBay newly listed if you're using eBay. And somebody at some point will list this game for a lot cheaper than it generally goes for, and that's when you strike, just like I did when I saw it for only 45 bucks. And those are the Xbox 360 pickups that I'm talking about in today's video. Like I said, a lot of good stuff here. Me personally, I like each and every one of these games, although Inversion is kind of like meh, and Stoked I can honestly do without. But I really do like the selection that I have here, lots of variety. But if you're looking for racing games, I'm going to be talking about a few of those in the next episode of Xbox 360 Pickups, so be on the lookout for that one. Anyways, everybody, once again, thank you for joining me on my Xbox 360 collecting. I'm feeling a bit of the burnout at this point. This FOMO shit's gotta stop. And like I said before, don't give in to FOMO like I am. Me personally, I'm only doing it because I love the Xbox 360. However, the loose ends definitely need to be remedied, and I'm doing that now, when things are a bit more pricey than they should be. But if you're on board, thank you all for tuning in once again. I wish you all a good game, and good night.
Super Retro Force.